Guys, what's going on? Back with another podcast. We got the three amigos. We got me, Ryan on the mic. Eric, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Dave, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, Ryan? What's going on, Eric?
Nothing much, guys. We got a lot of good topics to discuss. A lot of awesome games in the NBA last night. Awesome, intriguing matchups. Game of the year, in my opinion, Brooklyn Nets versus Milwaukee Bucks. What a game that was. So, first topics we're going to discuss, we're going to just run by these scores from, yesterday's games, and then we'll go from there. So, couple, big slate in the NBA yesterday, a 10-game schedule, for Martin Luther King Day. What a great day that is in the NBA. So running through these scores here. So first game of the day, New York Knicks defeated the Orlando Magic 91-84. Julius Randle, another huge game. Him and RJ Barrett have been terrific this season. Hawks defeated the Timberwolves 108-97. Clint Capella, 23 points and 15 rebounds. What a game he had. D'Angelo Russell in a losing effort, 31-7. Also another very good performance by him. Onto the Spurs, 125-104 against the Portland Trailblazers. Another nice Spurs victory. Now 8-6 on the year. DeJounte Murray dishes out 11 assists on the day. What a game he had. Suns and Grizzlies. The Grizzlies won 108-104. Another great game. It's nice to see Ja Morant back on the court. He's certainly a difference maker for that team. They're now 7-6 on the year. And the game of the year, like I said, Brooklyn Nets defeated the Milwaukee Bucks 125-123. James Harden and Kevin Durant again teaming up to win the game. Kevin Durant hitting the game winner with 31 seconds left in that game. Both had phenomenal games. Giannis Antetokounmpo in a losing effort also had over 30. Raptors, Mavericks. Raptors defeated the Dallas Mavericks 116-93. Luka didn't have such a great game. He only had 16, 9, and 8. You would expect him to have his, annual 28 points per game. Great games from Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. Miami Heat defeated the Detroit Pistons 113-107. Bam Adebayo, huge game. Tyler Harrell's still not back with that ailing injury he has. The Chicago Bulls defeated the Houston Rockets in a close game, 125-120. Another huge game from Zach LaVine. Spoiled Oladipo's, first game as a Houston Rocket. Oladipo, what a fantastic game he had. 32 points in a debut. Very good. And the final game of the day was also a very good game. Warriors 115 over the Lakers 113. What a game that was. Stephen Curry, another great game on the season. They ended up coming back. They were down by 19 points in one point in this game. So big win for the Warriors. And that wraps up the NBA scores last night, guys. So some good topics that we're going to discuss today, guys. A lot of really cool things going on in the sports world. Some of the main topics we're going to discuss, and I want to touch on this one first because this one is a little disturbing. I don't know if you guys read into this. Mets GM fired over sending sexually explicit pictures. I don't know if you guys read into that. Eric, did you read anything into this yet?
I didn't read too much into it, but I did catch the headline. What kind of insight can you provide? Because I'm actually really curious.
Yeah, so, New York Mets GM Jared Porter acknowledges him sending, apparently this is what happened. So he sent sexually explicit pictures to a female reporter when he was with the Chicago Cubs back in 2016. I guess the woman had no interest in him, saying the first time they met was supposed to be, just, him meeting a member of the media and discussing baseball strictly. Obviously, Jared Porter thought it was something else. So a little disturbing. So a couple things I want to touch on in this, in this little article I'm reading. Apparently he sent her over 60 text messages, 19 of them unanswered, saying, "Do you have a boyfriend yet?" Also sending, "Want to see more? Hello, beautiful. Is it too much for you? Where did you go?" And on to sending the last two, which are obviously the big ones, a picture of a bulge in his pants. And then the last one, a picture of him completely naked. And then later on said, "Why won't you answer me, beautiful?" So a very, disturbing thing. And it stinks that this is coming out now for, the New York Mets. Jared Porter has actually been a really good GM all the way back from, his
Extremely good GM.
Chicago Cubs days to having them win a championship. And now he's done a great job with the Mets. So it's really surprising to see a story like this and really disturbing. I mean, why would you ever do that if you're in a higher position where, I'm sure Jared
He could
Porter
get someone
Jared Porter could
easily.
get any other woman. That's what I'm saying.
Why would he have to send these texts unsolicited to a girl who obviously wasn't interested because she didn't respond back at all? And then he's gonna send a picture of what you said, and then go ahead and further send more. It's just not a good look for MLB, the organizations, and anyone involved
Yeah,
in
not
this situation.
not a good look at all for the MLB. And then the Mets losing, a good piece in Jared Porter. It's just so unfortunate when you see these terrible situations happen, and you do feel for the girl in this situation. Eric, what are your opinions on this? Pretty messed up stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the screenshots, and I find it very disturbing. I like the one where he sent a lewd photo of himself and then asked, "Am I annoying you?"
Yeah, that's just unbelievable, huh? These guys,
Yeah,
it's so weird seeing these things come out because like these guys have like everything they can want. I'm sure you could line up 20 girls and get them as a GM of a New York baseball team. I mean, that's unreal. To go to these lengths to try to get a woman is pathetic. And the organization looks bad in the end, but it's really not their fault that this guy was doing this, especially the Mets, because this happened when he was on Chicago. This has nothing to do with the Mets. And then the title of the article is saying the New York Mets GMs, like it had anything to do with them, and it doesn't. So it's one of those situations that sucks. So yeah, really really disturbing stuff. I just wanted to touch on that because it's a pretty big baseball story. So we're gonna go on to our second topic of the night, guys. I don't know if you guys read into this. Delonte West is now working at a drug rehab center. I don't know if you guys saw that. Delonte
yeah,
West
it's
is
the same one he attended.
yeah. So Delonte West is seeming finally to get his life back in order. Like Eric
That's
just
good to hear.
yeah. He's been on the streets. Mark Cuban, I guess, picked him up one
Yeah, tried to
time,
help him out.
tried to help him out. I mean, this guy's been bouncing around the league since he's retired or whatever even happened to him. I mean, it's good to see Delonte West actually working now. It's crazy to see him. The drawback he's faced in his life. I mean, once an NBA, at one point with the Celtics, he was a pretty good NBA player, and it sucks to see someone go so downward and ruin pretty much everything he had before. But that's a pretty cool NBA story. I like to see those type of stories, from time to time. Eric, what do you think about seeing that, man? You happy about that?
Yeah, I mean, I first saw Delonte West when he was teamed up with Jameer Nelson on St. Joe's, and they had a good NCAA run, and I'd always been a fan of him ever since. And, mental illness and drugs played a huge role in his downward spiral, and it's very tough to see, but uh, he was a really good talent, so I'm glad that he's on the right track now, and, hopefully he can stay clean. And stay close to the NBA and keep a steady job going. I'm surprised LeBron's mom didn't offer him a place to stay during all this though.
I know.
I remember hearing a story about him where he blew all of his NBA salary and had to work at Home Depot during the off season.
Yeah, that's unreal. And he was homeless for a large portion of that after too, which is just terrible to see.
Horrible. And on drugs. It's like this guy was just not that long ago in the NBA being a valuable player to a team, a franchise, and it's like, how do you go from that to being on the streets and just worse off? Like he was definitely bad and not not well off during his NBA career to blow $11 million and be so much in debt to where during your off season, rather than training and focusing on your NBA career, you have to get a job because you blew like that doesn't even make sense how this player just he wasn't able to manage his money at all, blew it all. But it makes sense because obviously he's got some problems, some issues going on where he was heavily addicted to drugs. But now it's great to see that he's getting his life back together with the help of numerous amount of people, and it's well deserved because it's not a good look for the NBA to have players that were so good and so respected and idolized by many that are fans of the sport, and to see where he is now at this point in his life, years later, not
Yeah,
that long later.
absolutely. And I kind of like how you touch on how is it possible to go broke, making that kind of money. Obviously, in this case, this guy had some serious problems in Delonte West, but that's kind of like a case for so many players. We've seen so many star athletes over the years, Allen Iverson to Antoine Walker, where these guys are like completely bankrupt now after making hundreds of millions of dollars. I think Allen Iverson was worth at one point like over like 150 million dollars, and now he's worth like nothing. It's like
So Ryan, a correction. So apparently he made over $14 million in the NBA, and then it says that he ended up having to apply for a job at Home Depot. So this must have been uh, after his career, I'm assuming. The,
whatever it was, you know, obviously he
whatever the
was.
scenario, the case was, there was some issues going on. But if you make $14 million, say total, I'm not sure his exact salary history. I mean, you could look into it if you guys are interested. But from this article, if it is $14 million, let's just say hypothetically, which I think it is, $14 million throughout his entire career. Which, does that make sense to you guys?
Could
That
be,
would be
yeah. I mean, at the time,
14
his
million total.
contracts definitely weren't that high. I mean, he was like
Oh,
a, you know, like a role player. I mean, I'm assuming
okay,
his
all
contracts
right.
weren't like crazy, so probably,
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll say about, all right, $14 million, and then he just blows it all, and then is
But like I
forced to
said though,
work a
Dave,
regular
14
job.
million is, you know, that's a lot of money you would think for an average person. But look at these other athletes that have blown hundreds of millions of dollars. Like I was just saying, Allen Iverson, Antoine Walker. I mean, the list is like unreal. And you know, these guys are like broke. Some of them working at supermarkets. Delonte
They
West
should be
working
set
at a
for
Home
life with
Depot.
that money.
Oh God, yeah, these guys manage their money horribly. Eric, I mean, I know me and you have looked at some of the athletes that's gone broke, and it's unreal because I swear in the NBA, I see this more than any other sport where athletes are like completely broke now. And I know
They live large.
they
That's what
do.
it is.
Eric, how many
They
guys
live
have we
above their
seen, Eric,
means.
that we've seen guys go broke?
Yeah, it's more than I can even count, and it's really just like sad to see because you would think that being a professional athlete, you have access to so many different resources where you can manage your money a little bit better. But I have a feeling that a lot of these guys trust the wrong people and also just spend very carelessly. And that's those are the two biggest contributing factors to going broke after their careers are over.
Absolutely. And, you know, with that, we can go on to our main topic of the night. And it's a topic that everyone's discussing. We've continued to discuss it on this channel. And it's how good the Brooklyn Nets look in their first two games with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I mean, James Harden, excuse me. Unreal. I mean, game after game, it seems like this is going to be a normal where these two guys just have these unreal performances. And I know that you mentioned last time, Eric, that you didn't expect it to be, you know, so soon that these guys were going to be doing this. And yeah, they proved a lot of people wrong because I didn't think at some point where, you know, these guys were going to mesh perfectly like they have. And, you know, James Harden, you know, addressed it yesterday saying, we were little kids when we were playing before on OKC. Now we're grown men. And that's certainly what it looks like. And these guys look like grown men. When I say grown men, these guys are putting up unreal numbers. I mean, James Harden, his first two games with the team, the first game he had a 30-point triple double. Unreal. That was the first time that's ever happened in NBA history. And then last game he had a 30-point game, over 10 assists again with no Kyrie Irving there. And Durant had another big game, over 25 points. Every single game he's had over 25 points. Unbelievable start to the season for Kevin Durant. Um, but I mean, I still can't believe this. I mean, it's unreal. Like these guys look like they've been playing with each other for years now. It's like they click perfectly, and I wonder how the
Well, they
Kyrie.
are familiar with each other,
Right, they are, but you
having
know,
played together before, and this isn't the first time these two athletes are playing together with each other. But I kind of expected this. I told you I expected his debut to be phenomenal, and it did. It came to fruition. We seen his debut game against the Magic. They won, and then again an impressive, huge win against the Milwaukee Bucks. I expect big things from this team. It's like you have the three best players in the league, and uh, top players in the world, and you don't even need all three. If one of them's out for whatever reason, you still got two of the best players in the league, in the world. So I expect big things for this team, and I think a championship is definitely
Yeah,
in sight.
absolutely. And like I said, it's interesting to see though how Kyrie Irving is going to mesh with these two guys because the first two games have been unbelievable. And I wonder if he's going to screw things up to an extent because now that's a third guy that's going to command the ball. And before they got James Harden, everyone was talking about how is Kevin Durant and James Harden going to mesh with him, and there's only one basketball. And for right now, it looks like it's not affecting them at all. But Kyrie Irving coming back tomorrow against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think, is going to change things. Eric, how do you think these three guys play to each other after you just seen what happened in the first two games?
Yeah, I think that it might be a quicker transition than I anticipated because so far they've been blowing everyone away, and I know there's a different element now with Kyrie being brought into the picture, and he's very ball dominant. And obviously that remains to be seen how it's going to work. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to come to a collective decision as the three stars of this team uh, to play unselfishly because I know all three of them want to win a title. Specifically, Harden, who's the only one of the group who hasn't won yet. So I think they're going to find a way to make it work, and it's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Like you said, Dave, you've seen this. You've seen this coming. You mentioned it from the start that you expected them to do very good things in Brooklyn, and it seems like your opinion is definitely right as of right now. But like I said, we'll see when it comes to those playoff matchups where things pick up, the defensive intensity definitely intensifies, and we'll see what happens because the playoff basketball is totally different. And they just beat a very good Milwaukee Bucks team where most people consider them to be one or two in the East year after year. And they are a lot better too, the Milwaukee Bucks this year. They have Drew Holiday, new addition. Chris Middleton is a fantastic number two option for that Bucks squad, and they're going to be a tough out this year too. It's just it's still just really difficult to see this Brooklyn Nets team losing in a 7-game playoff series, and at this point I don't think it's going to happen. So, I mean, we'll kind of go on to our speed round here. So, this is something we definitely like doing on this channel. It's a 7 seconds or less segment that we do. And this is a pretty cool thing that, Eric came up with, which would be pretty cool to add to the channel. And we're going to run through some of these questions now, guys. You guys ready?
Yep,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Awesome. All
giddy
right.
up.
All right, guys. First question is, will James Harden still average over 30 points this year on the Brooklyn Nets? I'm going to go with he does not, but he slightly does not. What I mean by that, he's going to have average around 28 points. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I say under. I say he probably averages 29 points per game. I think it's going to be less because there's, Irving and Durant, and there's one ball. So
All right, Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he averages under 30. I don't think anyone on the team is going to average over 30 because I think they're going to have three guys averaging in the mid, possibly to high 20s.
All right, awesome, guys. Number two question: will Bradley Beal lead the NBA in points? He's now averaging 34 points per game. Last year he averaged 30. I'm gonna go with he might. I think he will actually because that team is like terribly defensive, and I think he's gonna lead the league in points this year. Dave, what do you think? Will Bradley Beal lead the league in points?
I say no.
Okay, Eric, what do you think?
I'm going to say yes. I think that guys who are the best players on a bad team typically have a higher chance of leading the league in a lot of categories. So I think he's on fire. He's a fantastic player, anyways. Um, I wish the team as a whole performed better. Ultimately, yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. Third question. Will Patrick Mahomes play this Sunday against the Buffalo Bills? My assumption is yes, he does play. He clears that concussion protocol just in time to make it back for Sunday. Dave, what do you think? Do you think Mahomes will be back?
Yes, I think he will be back. The team is already making it seem like he will be back, and there's a cover up in a way. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're factoring in player safety, especially considering he already is injured and just got injured again. So I hope that they make sure he's 100%, but he's not going to be 100% if he does play. But I expect him to still try and win back to back. Let's see if he can make it happen.
Eric, what do you think? Do you think Mahomes will be active this week?
Mahomes will be active, Um, and I think that he's going to throw for 3 touchdowns.
Ooh, great assumption. 3 touchdowns is definitely in the balance. I think that's going to be a very high scoring game. Awesome, guys. On to the fourth question. Will Nikola Jokic lead the league in assists? Nikola Jokic, the center on the Denver Nuggets, is now leading the league in assists, over 10 per game. Second closest is hovering around 9 assists per game. I think it's very doable for Jokic, so I'm going to go with yes. I think he will lead the league in assists. I just look on how that team operates, and it's in Jokic's hands the majority of the game. I don't care if he's a center; he's the best passing center in the league. I think he's going to do the inevitable and lead the league in assists. Very rare to see that from the center position. Dave, do you think he will lead the league?
I say no. I say it's too soon to determine whether or not he's going to, but I would say anything can change. You know, in, he could get injured. Anything could happen.
Awesome. Eric, what do you think? You think Jokic will lead the league in assists?
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say one of our boys that we've been talking about, James Harden, will.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome stuff, guys.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, Harden definitely has a chance to do it.
If not Durant, maybe, or
yeah, someone definitely will. I know it will be someone that commands the ball, so I'm assuming. And Jokic actually holds the ball a lot for a center. That's why I think he has a great chance of doing it. All right, guys, on to question number 5, I believe. Will Rodgers beat Tom Brady this week? I said yes. The Green Bay Packers do advance to the Super Bowl, and I think that he definitely beats him in a huge NFC showdown. Dave, what do you think?
I say it's possible. It might happen, but you can never count out Tom Brady. I would like to see it happen, but Aaron Rodgers did have a good start and finish to the season, which means he could go all the way and end up with a Super Bowl win. But I say no.
Okay, Eric, what do you think? You think Rodgers will beat Brady this week?
I think Rodgers beats Brady this week, and then I think they're going to play catch in the end zone at the end of the game.
Just like Drew Brees did. Yeah, that was awesome to see. Awesome.
That's a horrible assumption.
Hey, it could happen. All right.
Horrible take.
Awesome, guys. All right, guys.
Slanderous at best.
Ooh, slanderous. All right. Well, all right, guys. I don't know if you guys seen this. Eric, will Conor McGregor win on Saturday? He's facing Dustin Poirier for the second time in his career. Last time they both fought, Conor McGregor beat him in a technical knockout TKO under 2 minutes. This is a pretty big fight. This is an $80 million fight for McGregor. I think McGregor will win. I think it'll be a little bit closer this time. I don't think it'll be a 2-minute knockout like last time. Dave, 25, what do you think? What's your take?
McGregor wins, knockout.
Awesome. Eric, what do you think?
I think McGregor wins.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. And on to the last question of the 7 seconds or less. And I kind of threw this one in there to maybe confuse some of us. Pretty hard question to answer in 7 seconds or less. But what do you guys think? Out of all the sports this year, which sport do you think is going to have the most trouble with coronavirus? We've seen the NBA having a problem with it as of recent. The NFL had its sure problems. MLB. Which sport do you think in the end is going to have the most problems with coronavirus? Dave?
NBA.
Okay. Eric, what do you think? NBA?
I think NBA, hands down.
Yeah.
No questions about it.
I think the biggest reason why, all three of us are picking NBA is because you just play so often, and it's so difficult to, put a roster out there if, you play so frequently because, we've seen so many times this year where, Boston Celtics have gone through it, the Wizards have gone through it, where, their star players are out for an extended period of time, and everyone that was around them is now gone. It's
so just a year ago, it's surprising to say because we were just talking about in 2020 how they were the best to handle the coronavirus pandemic because they had the bubble. The NBA bubble was the smartest thing in all sports, and I think they handled it best last season. But now it just seems like other sports, MLB. MLB might have some issues too, but I think NBA is just affected by this because the Celtics not being able to play because nearly all their players were out, and I just think
Yeah, it's so many
Other
games.
sport other
So many
sports
games.
are not as affected by it going forward. I think the NHL is still taking it pretty seriously, and I just think that NFL, uh, MLB, and NBA are obviously the most affected because they do have fans, but there is a lot of testing going on, and hopefully there's nothing that can cancel a season. It was tough with no sports last year for a long time.
Yeah, at this point, it would be like unreal if they ended up canceling a whole season because they've already gone through, almost full seasons in all the sports. And who knows? It could get
Who
worse,
knows
I
if we have
guess.
another lockdown? I mean,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Very
When
possible.
Biden takes office tomorrow, that he's preparing for a total lockdown, federal mandate for masks. So I wouldn't be surprised. Anything can happen. We found that out last year, 2020, worst year. That sports can be taken away from us just like that. Uh, and it sucks. And I hope it never gets to that point again because I remember sports talk. Uh, they had nothing to talk about for the
Yeah, we're
longest
talking
time.
about
They were just talking
rumors.
about Tom Brady and rumors for sports. They weren't even sure that was gonna happen.
Yeah, and something I just wanted to touch on quickly, guys, because like I said, we discussed it somewhat yesterday. How big of an impact are these football games this Sunday going to be? Because, we got Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I envision at least three of the four minimum being legends. Mahomes is on his way to being an NFL legend, one of the best quarterbacks that I've ever seen.
Comparable
Rodgers,
to Tom Brady. I mean, he's just got pure, talent and skill. The way he is on the field, so confident. It reminds me of Tom Brady. I know he doesn't have as many championships. His career is just starting, where Tom Brady's is ending, in the near future, where Patrick Mahomes has years ahead of him. So if he can, come close to 6 Super Bowl wins, or at least get a decent amount, which I expect him to get many, then I could, potentially consider him to be in that GOAT conversation. Because watching him, I mean, I haven't seen anything like it outside of Tom Brady.
yeah, easily could be one of the goats. And this Sunday is so star packed with quarterback. Josh Allen. I mean, I think Josh Allen has all the intangibles to be a great NFL
Aaron
quarterback.
Rodgers.
Rodgers. I mean, my God, so many legends are playing this Sunday. And this is a question I want to ask all four of you guys. Who do you guys think needs this championship the most to add to their resume? I think it's probably Aaron Rodgers because Rodgers is only won, the one time in the past, and he is an MVP. He's going to win another MVP this year. But I think, Rodgers is, in my opinion, automatically a top five quarterback all time, at least in my opinion. But
So good. I remember the first time watching him, the way he plays, he can run, he can do it all. And I mean, he can pass, he just has passion for the game. And nothing can just replace that. Tom Brady's got passion. Obviously, he wouldn't be playing at 43 years of age if he didn't have love for the game and want to continue playing. He would have just retired last Super Bowl win with the Patriots and just went out on top and rode into the sunset. But no, when you have passion for the game like Tom Brady, like Patrick Mahomes, to play through an injury the way he's doing, like Aaron Rodgers did by proving, his franchise wrong, that they shouldn't have drafted a rookie quarterback without even telling them, and debating whether they should trade him and move on with and go younger. Like these are legends that just have talent and skill and passion for the game, and it's just amazing every time they step foot on the field, being able to watch.
absolutely. No, with that being
Hall of
said,
Famers,
though,
future Hall of Famers
like I
for
said,
sure.
with that being said, who do you think needs this championship the most to add to the resume? Eric, what do you think? Do you think it's Rodgers? Do you think it's Brady? Do you think it's Josh Allen to get his first? Or do you think it's Patrick Mahomes to solidify himself as a top quarterback?
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a lot more opportunities
Agreed.
to get other championships in his career just because of his sheer talent. And it seems like the Chiefs have built a team that's uh, capable of contending for many years. I think Brady's legacy is solidified. Um, another Super Bowl ring would be absolutely insane to add to, but even without it, his legacy is still solidified. I think the biggest ones that can gain from another Super Bowl are
I say the
Rodgers because
Bills.
it will put Rodgers one over Favre, and I know he would love that. And also Josh Allen to be able to say that he brought a Super Bowl to Buffalo. It's hard for me to choose which one. Maybe Josh Allen because winning a Super Bowl in Buffalo for Buffalo would be very special.
Yeah.
That's a great point about Aaron Rodgers to have one more Super Bowl win over Brett Favre. He's definitely eyeing that, and that's
Yep.
got to be fueling him to win the Super Bowl. Which I don't see it out of the realm of possibility. I think that could go down. I mean, I did say like he would be in the Super Bowl with Kansas City, but like there's been so much stuff going on with uh, injuries to Patrick Mahomes where it might not be possible.
Yeah, we'll never
But
know. And
the way Brady played,
this is a good discussion because if Rodgers does win, this Super Bowl, that'll be two. So that'll be tied with Peyton Manning. And if Rodgers plays another 5 years, Peyton Manning is definitely my favorite quarterback of all time. I think he's unbelievable. Who knows? Rodgers just might surpass him because, as of right now, Rodgers has the highest quarterback rating of all time. He doesn't even have 100 interceptions on a year. He has, for his career, he only has like 87 interceptions, over 400 and something touchdowns. If Rodgers plays, he's 37 years old right now. If he can play maybe to 41, 42, I think that's in the realm of possibility. He could sure pass, Peyton Manning. We never know. Eric, do you think
I
it's
hope he
a
plays till
possibility?
46.
Yeah, me too. Eric, do you think it's a possibility that he could pass, our favorite Peyton Manning?
I do think it is a possibility. Um, like you said as well, Peyton Manning will always be my favorite quarterback. Um, but I think in terms of statistics, it is very possible that Rodgers will surpass him. It's hard for me to say necessarily he's better because there's a different element that Peyton Manning brought to the game that was very unmatched, and you have to consider that just the way he prepared, and he had some really really great seasons. Uh, with it win loss record wise on a team that had a notoriously really bad defense, and I feel like that gets a little overlooked sometimes. And it would be tough for me to say which one is ultimately better, but I wouldn't be surprised if ultimately Rodgers surpasses him.
Yeah, that's great input. And Dave, I don't mean to cut you off there. You said Rodgers could have played at 46 years old. There's no way.
I mean, what Brady's like setting, like the president, I know it's not realistic for Drew Brees, who's all beat up, and I expect him to maybe play one more year because it seems like he was going to go out after this past season, but then, towards the end of the game, after he was crying, he kind of had that, look in his eye like he was thinking about um, whether he should play again. And I think after, thinking it over, contemplating whether he should return for another year, he might come to the assumption that he should play one more year till 43 and then call it quits and, let everyone know that this is going to be my final season with the New Orleans Saints farewell tour. I mean, similar to what Kobe Bryant did, which was a pretty good way to go out and go out on your own terms, which not a lot of players can do. Um, I
But
I like what Brady's setting, like the fact that he is taking care of his body and able to play. He's 43 and he signed next year, so he's going to be in the NFL at 44 years of age. And who's to say that he can't play another 4 years? I mean, is it like impossible that Brady can't play another 4 years? I mean,
no,
it's
I don't think it is, and I think that's a good point because I think with technology and the way injuries have changed over the years, like years ago, we would have never thought this was a possibility where guys are playing well into their 40s, and
5 years now.
yeah, I think Brady's definitely setting a precedent where it's starting to be more normal. I mean, we're starting to see so many quarterbacks playing into their 40s, and I think that it's definitely possible that these guys play well into their late 40s because as we mentioned yesterday, I think Brady's going to play at least another 3 years to his 45, 46-year-old season. Um, But Rodgers, people thought, he was going to retire or he was going to get traded going into this season. And his age 37 season ended up being his best season of all time. He threw 48 touchdowns this year, 5 picks. I mean, that is unreal. Led their team to the number one seed in a tough NFC. So, he's really not slowing down. If anything, he's getting better, which is kind of scary to even say at that age. So, I think that there is a possibility that he could pass Peyton Manning as far as statistics are concerned, but it's very tough to pass those. What do you have? 5 MVP trophies that Manning had. That those are really difficult to pass.
You can't count out experience from these quarterbacks. Yes, they're aging, but when you've been through it all, every situation, you can't, just there's nothing that can amount to that when you have someone who's uh, been through that situation, can get you to a championship, get you to a Super Bowl, and just contend every year. uh, it's hard to pass up a player like that even in their 40s for a rookie quarterback, unless they're like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Outside of like a couple big name Josh Allen, um, a lot of teams still would go for these older guys because of just the experience level can get them, you know, get it done, get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to wrap up our main topics. So we normally do our NBA birthdays and day in NBA history. I'm not sure if Eric has any of those available now. If not, I can definitely pull up the birthdays. Eric, do you got any of those available to you?
I do have them available. Do you want me to proceed? If not, I understand.
Absolutely, yes. This is my favorite part of the podcast. Eric, go ahead, my man.
Oh, really? Wow. I'm tickled to hear that. I have quite a few birthdays for today, so I'll go through them quickly. 14 players who played in the
Wow,
NBA were
14.
born
Wow.
today, January 19th. We'll go again through alphabetical order, and this player happens to also be the one who has the most win shares of anyone on the list, and that is Michael Adams, point guard, 1963, 11 years in the league, 46.9 win shares.
Wow, yeah.
Not too bad, 14.7 points per game career average.
Pretty good, yeah.
We have 1968, Marty Conlon, actually played 9 years in the league. This is another one coming up, 1925. All right, I'm going to repeat,
Oh
1925.
my God.
Uh, Young man by the name of Dillard Crocker. So
That's a weird
he
name.
played
Dillard Crocker.
yeah, 4 years in the league. If he was still alive today, um, he'd be almost 100 years old.
Wow.
Uh, so next up is Grant Gonrizik, 2 years in the league. Another good name coming up, Tito Horford, 1966, 3 years in the league.
Tito.
And now we have about halfway through, very familiar name, a guy who I grew up watching. I actually had a figurine of him, and I threw him up on my roof, and took a while to come down. And that is Luke Longley, from the University of New Mexico, born in 1969, the Australian, won 3 NBA titles with the Chicago Bulls
Wow.
as their starting center. Number 7, I got excited here because I thought it was Arvydas Sabonis, but it is Arvydas Makajuaskis, born in 1980. 1 year, played 19 games.
Wow.
Coming up, 1951, Gary Micchione, 2 years in the league. And then we have another young man, 1931, Bill McVie, 1 year, 31 games.
Wow.
And you remember our guy Dillard Crocker, who was born in 1925?
I do.
Well, I wonder if he played with Buddy O'Grady, who was 5 years his senior, born in 1920.
My God.
So this fella would have been 101 years old if he were still living. Buddy O'Grady played 3 years in the league, averaged 3.7 points per game.
Wow.
Then our last two people, Clinton Smith. No, I'm sorry, we have 3 more people. Clinton Smith, born in 1964. Andy Toulson, 1966. And Tragic Bronson, JaVale McGee,
Oh,
1988.
JaVale McGee. Wow. When was it? When was he born?
Yeah, 1988. He's actually a 13-year vet. Can't believe he's been in the league that long.
That's actually insane. What if his? Do you have his?
Really?
Wow. What is his career stats, Eric? If you have him up in front of you.
Yeah, he is actually a very impressive 57% field goal percent shooter. Um, 17.3 minutes per game, 7.9 points, 5.2 rebounds.
Wow. JaVale McGee.
Yeah, 37 win shares. Not too bad.
Not bad. Yeah. JaVale McGee's. I've actually thought he was actually pretty good backup center. I know he's on Cleveland right now, but him, Michael Adams, and Longley are definitely, I think, the best on that list. No, as far as players.
Yeah, I'd like to do a little bit more research on Buddy O'Grady and Dillard Crocker. I'd love to see um, what they did in their heyday. I mean, they might have known James Naismith himself, the founder of this wonderful game.
They might have even built the hoops.
Yeah, they're probably shooting into milk baskets.
Awesome, awesome stuff.
But yeah,
So,
the set shot was very popular back then.
oh yeah,
So on this date in NBA history, we don't have a lot actually. Very few things occurred. Uh, but it wouldn't be this date in NBA history if we didn't start off with Wilt the Stilt. Scored 53 points in 1962 for the Philadelphia Warriors in a 136-125 win over the Detroit Pistons.
it's a disturbingly high scoring game back then. My God, no 3-point line either.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's pretty unbelievable. Wilt had 53 and 21, very pedestrian numbers for him, something we're very used to. And at the time, the Philadelphia Warriors were 28 and 21.
Wow.
So we move on up to an individual who also was quite a scorer, but this time he's being recognized for rebounding. Elvin Hayes of the San Diego Rockets pulled down 35 rebounds
My
in a
God.
117 to 113 loss to the Knicks back in 1971.
That's also a pretty high
So
scoring game.
the San Diego Rockets.
I kind of like that
Haven't
name,
heard
to be
that
honest
name.
with you. I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like.
it is a
I
good
think there
name.
should be a team in either San Diego or there's got to be another team put back in Seattle. I think those are like pretty good destinations for a team.
I mean, you gotta give them another
Seattle
opportunity
for
out there.
sure. They're getting a hockey team.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I think Seattle was like an
Seattle,
awesome
the
place. They should have never
the
took that
Seattle
team out of there.
Kraken.
Pretty cool name.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. Well, yeah. So Elvin Hayes, 29 points, 35 rebounds. Did fall short to the 33 and 16 New York Knickerbockers, led by Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, and Bill Bradley, who all scored over 20.
Wow.
Yeah. So moving on up, we just got a few more to go. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Milwaukee Bucks dropped a 50 piece in a 122-108 win over the Portland Trailblazers in 1975.
Wow.
Featured in that game was another UCLA standout, Bill Walton, on the Portland Trailblazers. He only played 21 minutes, however, and dropped 7 points. Kareem actually had a triple double: 50 points, 11 assists, and
Wow.
15 rebounds.
That's filth.
So not too bad. He played 45 minutes,
Oh my God.
so practically the entire game. And then we have two more to go. Uh, Freeman Williams of the San Diego Clippers scored 51 points in a 137 to 123 loss to the Phoenix Suns on this date in January 19th, 1980.
Wow.
So Freeman Williams, 51 points, not too bad. 22 of 34 from the field. However, outplayed by the 32 and 17 Phoenix Suns, who leading scorer, the recently late but great Paul Westphal, had 30 points.
That's actually filth.
Yeah, you remember Paul Westphal, former Celtic as well.
I do actually, yeah.
And finally, another late great talent, near and dear to our hearts, 2006, Kobe Bean Bryant,
Oh, wow.
51 points and a loss, actually, 118-109 to the Sacramento Kings. Kobe didn't receive much help during that game. Next leading scorer was Lamar Odom with 16 points, and Smush Parker rounded it off with 10.
Smush Parker, remember him?
Yep. Mike Bibby dropped 40 in that game.
Yeah, Mike Bibby was nasty. Remember him? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So that's it for this date in NBA history. Love going down and just revisiting some of these old games, these old box scores. It's fascinating to me, and I hope you got a kick out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for doing that, Eric. And that is an awesome, awesome way to exit this podcast. We're trying to do these most days throughout the week. Some days will be difficult with things going on, but I appreciate you guys coming on as always. Eric, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Not a problem. Dave 25, appreciate you coming on and doing this with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
No,
See you, Eric. See you, Ryan.
No problem. Like, comment, subscribe,
Yeah, take
guys.
care, fellas.
And we'll see you guys next time. See you guys.